everyone, this is Adrien, the exercise specialist from the Leduc, Beaumont, Devon Primary Care Network. Hope you all are doing well today. For today's video, I thought I would show you guys some different exercises that you can do for your shoulder muscles to actually get kind of a full and complete proper shoulder workout. So the shoulder is an incredible joint. It has the most range of motion out of any joint in the body. It is a ball and socket joint. We don't have many of those on the body, pretty much because our hips are only really other standard ball and socket joint per se, are our shoulders, and our shoulders have far more range of motion. So there's tons of little muscles in your shoulder and surrounding your shoulder in order to help things work. So what does your shoulder, what movements does your shoulder generally do? So there's three main movements that your shoulder generally does, and it works off of your humerus, so your upper arm bone here, right? So the three main movements that your shoulder works on are called lateral abduction, so abduction, so this way, and then it does what is called shoulder extension, which is back this way, and then shoulder flexion, which is up and this way. So we got sideways, back, and then up. So those are the three main movement planes that your shoulder works in. It does a little bit of stuff for what's called external rotation of the shoulder as Coach Luna comes to join me, but not very much overall. The shoulder is an incredibly complex joint. Like I said, and it has so many different little articulating points and things like that, and it actually controls a lot of things in our body, and also involving, you know, posture and things like that. It's not the sole provider of our posture, but it's an incredibly important aspect of it. What I mean by that is your shoulder has three main muscles. Three main muscles make up your shoulder. We have your anterior deltoid, which is the front part of your shoulder muscle here. We have your medial deltoid, which is on the side here, and then we have your posterior deltoid, which is on the back here. There's three main muscles on your shoulder there. And each one, though they all work in conjunction, they do have at times slightly different function. When you go through shoulder flexion, that's mainly your anterior deltoid, or any pushing movement. That's going to be more your anterior deltoid, though your medial deltoid does help a bit too. Hey, Coach Luna really wants my attention today. When we go through abduction, that's going to be more your medial deltoid. When we do anything that involves pulling your humerus or your forearm to the back or down, so through extension, anything kind of like that, that's going to be the posterior deltoid. Where it comes into focus for your posture is most people are very anterior deltoid dominant. So your anterior deltoid generally gets the most work because it's involved for any pushing movements, any flying type of movements, any pressing type of movements, anything involving those movements. Your anterior deltoid gets a ton of work. And we tend to notice people's anterior deltoid tends to be way overpowered as opposed to their posterior deltoid, so the one on the back there. So it tends to happen, all muscles pull off of each other, right? And that's how we maintain structure in our body from a musculoskeletal standpoint, or sorry, from just the muscular side of the musculoskeletal standpoint, is muscles pulling off each other, so they create tension on each other and rigidity and stability. But when you have an anterior deltoid, when you have an anterior deltoid that's far stronger than your posterior deltoid, what happens is, if this muscle is stronger than this muscle, it pulls those shoulders forward and rounds you forward because it's stronger than that one, but this one can't keep up. So it tends to roll your shoulders forward, affecting the posture, so on and so forth. Luna, come on. Luna is trying to take off the camera now. It's okay, girl. It's okay. So what we want to do is we want to strengthen out those posterior muscles of your shoulder. When we do that, it'll help bring those shoulders down and back, so we're nice and we're open and we're broad through the upper chest, and we keep things kind of in a good proper posture, a good powerful position. So oftentimes those posterior deltoids just aren't worked nearly as much as the anterior deltoids or even the medial deltoids, partially because it's oftentimes a lot easier to directly work these muscles. And it's a common kind of a trope in the health and fitness industry that the muscles that you can't really see because they're behind you don't often get worked as much or as well. So, and your posterior deltoids really fall into that category, and they're very important for overall shoulder health as well as your posture and other functions. So, how do we work all of the muscles of your shoulder? I do think it is important to work the muscles through their full range of motion and in each of the relevant planes. So I'm gonna just show two different types of workouts that you can do using the same movements. For one of the workouts, I'm gonna use a couple small dumbbells here, some 5-pound dumbbells and my heavy dumbbells, and then I'll show the exact same workout again, but with a band. And you can do these either way. They each serve a purpose, and both of them can be great workouts. So the easiest way, and I will say in general, if your shoulder health isn't a factor and you have good healthy shoulders, overhead pressing is a fantastic type of a movement. It's, in my opinion, probably the overall most beneficial shoulder exercise. Though once again, it doesn't work those posterior deltoids a lot, but if I had to choose one exercise in general for shoulder health, it would be that one. But as per usual, if you're new to physical activity, if you're returning to physical activity from a long layoff, or if you have a medical condition that might make doing physical activity difficult, please consult with your physician or your healthcare professional prior to beginning any new exercise program. So, like I said, first off, if I was to pick one exercise overall, if you have no shoulder issues, obviously I'm on a ball here, but this can be done, from the ground too. It would be the overhead press. So we will start here. Arms just outside of my shoulders. You see, I'm not way out here. I'm not way in here. I'm making roughly 90-degree angles with my forearm and my upper arm, so and my elbows. And then for a general overhead press, it's just straight up and then straight down. Straight up and straight down. Straight up and straight down. As you see, I'm not going in like some people do. I'm not going out, which I don't know why you would do. I need to go straight up and straight down. Straight up and straight down. You see, I'm not stopping here, not just going here. It's a full range of motion. Okay, so if you were to pick one exercise, that's definitely my favorite shoulder exercise. Once again, that comes down to people's shoulder health and things like that. To work all three muscles in the shoulder individually, and also on that note, there are other muscles that play off your shoulder, obviously, like your chest muscles and your rotator cuff muscles. I have separate videos that I've already posted of all of those, so feel free to refer to those for those kind of things. These are just focusing on the shoulders. So to work the three main muscle groups of your shoulders, if you're not able to do something like an overhead press, there's three main exercises that tend to work pretty darn well. And it's going to focus on each of the muscles individually, so you can isolate them a little bit. I'm not always the biggest fan of isolating muscles, but for your shoulders, sometimes it can be effective. So the first one, we'll work on the anterior head of your deltoid. Okay, so the front one there. So for that, what we are going to do is we're going to take the dumbbells, keep our arms straight, bring them directly out in front of you, and then back down, nice and controlled. Back down. I'll show you that from the side here. We're down, up, and then down. See, I'm not going all the way up here and down. It's just up to 90 degrees, maybe a little above, and then back down. Up, and back down. Up, and back down. So for all these exercises, you can do all of these for sets of, 8 to 20 or so repetitions. Shoulders tend to respond well to higher repetitions, especially for like isolating exercises like this. We don't want to do them too heavy. We want to keep it pretty light and on the higher repetition side, because we want your form to be good. We don't want you, swinging these and things like that. You should be able to control them to the whole point in the movement, right? So it's a couple seconds up, hold for a couple seconds, and then down. So the second movement is going to be for the medial head of the deltoid, so that middle head there. That one, we're going to mimic the motion that muscle tends to perform with some external weight. So we are going to work on what's called dumbbell lateral raises. The same thing, up nice and tall, out, and then down, out, and then down, out, and then down. As you see, I'm going up to 90 degrees, and then back down. Sometimes people will bring them up forward slightly, which is totally fine. Kind of in between that front raise and the side raise, about 45 degrees. That'll also work those muscles. Yeah. And same thing for all of these ones. You can do all of these with the same, upwards of 20 repetitions a set, nice and controlled. So that's the anterior, the front delt, and the medial or the middle delt there. Now the posterior delt, the one that gets, the one that people tend not to use as much. So there's lots of different ways that you can work these. What I'll show for the purpose of this video, keeping with the same theme of the lateral raises and the front raises, is kind of a rear delt fly. So for this one, there's two different ways that I really find that you can do this. I see I'm seated, my arms are straight and just hanging. So you see my arms are just hanging straight down, okay? From here, I'm going to lean forward, keep nice and strong through my back, a nice straight back bending at the waist. And then from here, I'm just going to bring these dumbbells straight out to the side here. Straight out to the side. So with the lateral raise, I was up here. For this one, I'm leaning forward and I'm still going straight out to the side. So my arms are not bent. So this is a way to do a lateral raise, but focus on those rear deltoid muscles, those important ones for your posture. Same thing, up, hold, and down. Up, hold, and down. Another alternative is to do a bit of a rear delt dumbbell row, where you're in the same position, now you're pulling up with your elbows. So that's another good option. Okay? So those would be the 3 or 4 main exercises for your shoulders with the dumbbells. I'm going to show the exact same ones using your using a band here. Sorry, Coach Lou is making me throw the ball here. So I'm going to show you guys the exact same exercises, but with the A band this time. So the first one was that overhead press. So this one, we stand on the band here, okay, and we bring the band up. So as you see, I'm in that same position, right? Elbows at roughly 90 degrees, not super far in, not super far out. 90 degrees, same thing, straight up, and then down. Up, and then down. Up, and then down. What is good about a band, obviously, is as the tension increases, the exercise does get harder, right? The resistance increases, right? Resistance equals, tension equals resistance, right? So sometimes what happens is that aligns with the actual strength curve of the muscle, as we tend to be strongest at the ends of our range of motion, and the middle tends to be our weakest point for most movements. So if the resistance increases as we get to the stronger parts of our movement, it allows a good strength curve and a good adaptation to occur. So that's why sometimes these bands are fantastic. So once again, the first one, overhead pressing, see, nice and controlled, right? So the second one, just like how we did before, the front raise. So I'm still standing on the band, nice and upright. Grab the handles here, same thing, palms facing inwards, straight up. Once again, I'm going to 90 degrees, maybe a little more, but I'm not going way up above my head. Nice and controlled, working those muscles on the front of my shoulder there. Similar, go into that lateral raise there on the side for those medial delts, straight out to the side. Nice and controlled. And then for the posterior delts, we're actually going to change this one up a bit, so those muscles on the back there, into an exercise that I love doing with these bands that I've done on many videos before, which is a face pull. So you take the band straight out in front of you, get a decent tension on it, arm straight, pull it back in and back, in and back. If I was to pick one exercise, obviously there is no perfect exercise for anything or anyone, but if I was to say there's one really good, healthy, safe rear delt shoulder exercise, in my opinion, this is really it. Nice and controlled, hold it in and back. Controlled, in and back. Working those rear delt muscles. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. As you see, that was a really full, easy workout you can do with the dumbbells or with the bands. Either way does work great. Like I said, for your shoulders, I would generally try and keep the repetitions a little bit higher, somewhere between 8 to 20 repetitions per set. If you could, do those 4 exercises with the dumbbells or the band for a couple of sets each exercise, that's a fantastic really detailed shoulder workout. But realistically, all you really need to focus on is some kind of a pressing movement and some kind of a rear delt movement, and you'll have, you know, full good shoulder kind of development and good shoulder health overall. Obviously, if you have a shoulder condition, there's other exercises and rehab movements that we would recommend first to build up, but if you have healthy shoulders, these are great options for you. If you're just trying to get a little bit stronger shoulders, a little bit healthier functional shoulders, or if you're trying to put a bit of muscle on your shoulders, these can be fantastic exercises for you. So I hope you found those helpful. Once again, my name is Adrien. I'm the exercise specialist at the Leduc, Beaumont, Devon Primary Care Network. Thank you so much and have a great day.